the stuff you watched on TV as a high school girl and dreamed about. You saw the main characters holding hands and singing love songs, blocking out every other event of the story. It created a fantasy in your mind of what you would find in your own life and follow, even better than the movie that built your thoughts. Our love was my own version of a high school musical. You know, minus the dancing, while adding the violence. Suddenly, Luca walked in front of my stare and pulled me out of my trance. He kissed me playfully, causing the sexual tension to rise between us. His actions convinced me to pay attention to him instead of my thoughts, so I wrapped my arms around him, and we stood embraced for a few moments before his father entered the room. I still wasn't used to showing this type of affection in front of him, so I pushed Luca softly out of our embrace. Tony saw our hug anyway and winked at us, which caused me to blush. "What, are you embarrassed by me, Angie?" Luca asked in a tone that let me know he was kidding. "Of course not. I just know you don't like me in the presence of other people." I laughed teasingly back. I couldn't help but think, in the midst of the chaos, how our banter was flirty and cute. We really were the perfect match. Luca's phone started ringing and interrupted my thoughts. He pulled it out of his back pocket and looked at the screen, tilting it away from me, almost like he was hiding it. "Shit, I have to take this. I'll be right back," Luca said, and walked quickly away from us out of the kitchen. As soon as Luca left his father and me in the kitchen alone, I felt the anxiousness well up inside of me. Something about his father didn't sit well with me when we were in a crowd of people, let alone by ourselves. "Alone at last," Tony said in a tone that gave me chills. I turned my head quickly in the direction of his voice and noticed he was suddenly, dangerously close to my face. I must have been too focused on Luca to see he had gotten so close to me. I slid back closer to the door that Luca had walked out of, as I tried to distance myself from him. "Yeah, I guess we're alone. But I'm sure he'll be right back. I'm sure the call was nothing that will keep him too long." He completely ignored my desperate attempts at moving away from him, as he kept creeping closer and closer to me, while I backed further and further away. I was set on heading out the door if Luca didn't make his way back in soon. "I can't help but notice how grown up you're getting, even in just the short time you've been here with us. Your womanly features are filling in very nicely," Tony said, eyeing my breasts in such a way that made me nauseated. "I hope my son knows how to appreciate that fully." Trying my best to ignore his shrewd comments, I kept looking down the hall for Luca. I was hoping if I didn't respond, he would leave me alone. But he didn't take my silence as a cue to shut the hell up, as he started again. "I also noticed that you have some of the most gorgeous light blue eyes I've ever had the pleasure of looking into. The kind you just get lost in," he said. "Does Luca get lost in them the way he should?" He stepped in closer to me. "They just make me think how I have only seen that color of blue in one other person." I couldn't help but blush. I could tell Tony was being weird and inappropriate with me, but I didn't want to assume the worst of Luca's dad. I tried to think of what else he could mean and shrugged off his comments. I decided to try and joke with him about it to loosen the tension. "It's definitely not from my mother. As you know very well, her eyes are brown." A huge devilish smile spread across his face as he responded. "Oh, believe me, I know they are. I wasn't referring to her." His reaction confused me. He laughed and looked back up at me. His expression changed. "Does your mother ever tell you anything about your father?" His question sent me into a spiral of questions.